Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
I am I am extremely excited this afternoon to speak to the two of you. And reason being, I chatted with you a couple of times, and I was really moved by how very brilliant, very articulate you are. Well, let me start by saying good afternoon, Asha and Caleb.
Good afternoon.
Welcome to CWS as it is.
I'm glad to be here.
Same.
So let me start by saying it really is a pleasure to have you guys here this afternoon. And I'm looking forward to a very wonderful conversation. Ash, if I may start with you. When you think of yourself, what are three positive qualities that come to mind when you think about yourself or someone asks you to describe yourself?
I would definitely say I'm creative. I love to draw. I like to design things. I'm very creative. I would also say I'm intuitive. I would say I can really tell when something's going to happen. I can pick up on different emotions in people. Very connected with others, and I would also say that I'm open-minded. So I don't really judge anyone. I like to meet people and see how they are. Let them show me who they are before I decide who they are.
And you, Caleb?
I would say I'm also creative. I also have really good leadership qualities, I guess. And I don't know. I guess I would also be really open-minded.
Hmm. Is this open-mindedness? Does this open-mindedness help you with programming? We're going to talk about that later on. But does it help you with your programming, your approach to programming?
I definitely think so, because instead of approaching a problem saying, "Oh, I'll never get it done," or "I don't know how I'm ever going to solve this problem," I can approach the problem with an open-minded view and say that, okay, I can do this. There are different ways I can find the solution. I can Google search it. So it allows me to search for different solutions rather than having a one-track mind.
And when did all this interest in technology began for you?
Well, when we were all really young, our mom, she saw that a lot of the guys that she worked with were coders, and how much money they were getting paid, and how much creative freedom they had. So she wanted us to have that life when we grew up too. So at a young age, for me, it was around like fourth or third grade. For Asha and Ima, it was
Like middle school.
Like middle school, yeah. So she really got us involved really young.
Yeah, so we were definitely involved in programming from the time I was in middle school, and we started off with simple things like Lego Mindstorms Robotics and Scratch and little baby programs to get us accustomed to the type of logic that it's going to take to be able to program. And then we started moving into the harder stuff as we got into high school.
So was mom a big help in that process?
Yeah.
How so?
We definitely wouldn't be in technology right now if it wasn't for her. I feel like she was the one who guided us towards our interest in technology. She really didn't close us off. She allowed us to think for ourselves and decide what we're interested in, and tell us that there are different things that we can get involved in.
And so if you were to describe, and let me start with you, Caleb. You were to describe your parents and how they are in terms with you in technology. What would you say? How would you describe them?
I would say that they're really determined, because they're really determined to see us succeed and to see us to pursue what we want to in life, and they really give us the tools for that. So,
right, yeah, I would agree with Caleb. I would also say that my parents have instilled in us many of the significant qualities that we have, and that push us towards using technology to solve problems for social good. Both of our parents are very competitive people. They have a competitive spirit that helped them to be successful in life, and they gained that through. Well, both of them were national basketball players in Guyana, so I think that's where they got that from, being basketball players, and they really instilled that within us. I can even remember when I was in middle school. I was in 6th grade, and I was competing in a spelling bee against 6th, 7th, and 8th graders, and I got second place in that spelling bee. But when I got second place, I started crying, not because I got second place, but because I didn't get first. So I think that we're all very competitive, and we got that from them.
So, are you competitive too, Caleb? Would you agree with that?
oh yeah, I would agree with that. I think everyone in our family is competitive.
You created a mobile app called 50.
Yes.
For those who haven't seen the app yet or know much about it, give us a quick rundown of what it does.
Well, 50 allows citizens to rate, review, and track their interactions with law enforcement. The goal of 50 is to increase partnership policing, to allow police officers to understand how citizens feel about what they're doing within their neighborhoods, and for citizens to see how officers are interacting with others within their communities. And you can search interaction reports by zip code or by your location and find how other citizens in your community feel about law enforcement and what specific interactions they've had with law enforcement.
That's awesome. How did you come up with the idea?
Well, there were a lot of issues, negative issues about the police going on at the time we first decided to develop 50, and our family also had a negative interaction with law enforcement. So we thought that after a long process of talking with our parents, we thought that this would be a really good solution.
Right, definitely. Like the Michael Brown case and the Trayvon Martin case, all of those things were happening around the time that we came up with the idea for 50. So.
But let me shift a little bit from technology. You have a young brother, Caleb, and this Trayvon Martin, that's not a young person. How did that affect you personally at the time? Do you remember what you were going through, how you were thinking about it? You, Asha.
You're asking Caleb?
Yes, I'm asking you. Here, you have a young brother. You guys, right? And Trayvon Martin got killed. What was going through your mind at the time when that happened?
I mean, I feel like it was very scary. It made me wonder, how should my brothers go out into the neighborhood? Should I be scared when they go out by themselves? Should they be wearing certain things? And these are all things that I shouldn't have to think about, but it's just safety precautions for them. It just really brought the reality to home of the dangers that they face when they leave the house and when they go out into the world. And it made me want to create something that would be used as an insurance to know that they're safe, or that there's a way that they can be more safe.
And in regards to the app, Caleb, did this drive you more? Did this encourage you more to complete this app?
I think that really was a big drive in why we created and why we kept on going with our app. And I think that even if those cases didn't happen, this would have still been necessary, because these cases happen all the time, but we just don't hear them on the news. So,
how long did it take you to develop this app?
Around 6 months.
That's it?
Right. So we started off with 2.5 months of definitely building the application, and from there were a bunch of updates that we had to do and different features that we had to add along the way. So that spread out the time on the building of the application.
Now, okay, this app has all these features, right? It can't be easy. How did you guys approach the different components, the different parts of it? What was the general approach to putting this together?
Well, there were 3 of us. It was Asha and I, and then our sister Ima. And right now she's away at college at Stanford. But she really was like the main head of the project. And then we'd basically split up the work, and Asha would work on different sections, even work on different sections. I would work on different sections.
Right. So.
And then.
Oh, right. And we also created a 4-layer framework in order to develop the application. It started with the UI, or the user interface of the application, and then we had the function, the database, and then the column titles, and that really helped us to break out exactly what needed to happen on each page.
What were you responsible for, Asha?
Largely, I was responsible for the database interactions of the application, how we're going to get the data sent to the database and pull it out, how are we going to query, and the UI and how the app looks and how the user interacts with the application.
And you, Caleb?
I was also in charge of the user interface, and then I also did a lot of like the publicity for the app.
Yeah.
Oh, really?
Yes.
Why did they put that on you? Why were you responsible for publicity? What is it that you do, or what is it that you're good at that caused them to choose you? I
mean, I heard that I'm good at public speaking. I don't know. That's what they told me.
Definitely.
But also, they were really like bogged down with a lot of the coding and stuff. Well, not coding, but developing the app and putting this thing together. So I was like, I'll take some of that responsibility, so you guys don't have to have a ton of.
Right. Yeah. We always joke around and say that he's the politician of the family, because he's a great public speaker and he's really good with like interacting with people and getting them excited about something he's excited about, which is also another one of his great leadership qualities.
So you mentioned how this all started. Mom introduced it to you, and you started with these very simple type of um, programming and so on. But
Right.
when did you realize you can actually develop an app from beginning to end?
Um,
How long after you started messing or playing with programming and so on did you realize, well, wait, we can actually take an app from beginning to end?
right. So there's this program that we also started off with when we were around middle school, and it's called App Inventor, MIT's App Inventor, and that is like a baby version of how to build an application. It works off drag and drop logic. It works with the drag and drop logic, and it really starts you off with the basics of app development and helps you through the logic of how developing an application would work. So that was the beginning.
And then also, when we were talking about the issues with our parents, we didn't at first set out to build an app, but we, after like thinking about it, we thought an app would be a really great way to solve this issue, or at least give a solution to this issue. So it's kind of like we're working backwards from this is a problem, and then we'll fix it with an app instead of making an app to fix the problem. I guess it's kind of convoluted.
Yeah.
Give us a glimpse into either the table, the living room, wherever the three of you get together, or perhaps with mom and dad, or just the three of you to discuss a project. What is that like? Who starts it? What is that session like? What is a typical session?
I would say that it would start off with an idea of what the end goal is, what are we trying to accomplish with the application, and we build backwards. So we'd say, okay, so if we want this, we want to achieve this solution, or we want the application to do this, how can we make that happen? And then we'd start with the functions that it'll need. Well, we need to send information to the database. Well, we need to get users to input certain information, and it really starts building backwards from there. My sister would generally lead that discussion because was the head of the application, and someone would get up on the whiteboard and would write down all of the information and the ideas as we throw them out. And it looks like a brainstorming session because we're all just throwing ideas and sharing ideas and giving input. So that's what we did.
Is any idea ever a bad idea, or you guys just take everything and put it on the board?
I mean, there are bad ideas, but we're not just gonna initially say we're not gonna do that. We're gonna have to flesh it out first and see if it's like how bad it really is.
Right. Most of the ideas go up onto the whiteboard, but some ideas were just like, no, we can't do that. Yeah. We're not doing.
What do you enjoy most about that particular process, Caleb?
I think really the creativity and the collaboration of the process, because it's not just like you came up with an idea and you're just going to pursue this idea. You have other people to tell you if this is good or how hard it would be, or they're always there to help you and they're always there to give their input.
Right.
So if one of you don't feel like or doesn't feel like working, or maybe feel like doing something else, I don't know, who is the one that says you have to or we should? Who inspires the others?
I think that it's kind of like a trickle-down effect that starts with Ima, and then she would really be the lead on the app, and she would just say, oh, I know you really want to do this right now, but we really have to get this feature done or that feature done. And then from like above her, it would probably be from our mom or our dad, and they would be like, hey guys, you should add this feature. It would be cool if you could hurry up and finish this and get this out the way so you can go ahead and do whatever you were planning on doing.
I definitely feel like if we see two people working on the application, then everyone generally wants to join in and work on the app too. And seeing someone take the initiative to start working on it themselves usually motivates everyone else to join in. Other than that, I would say our mom really gets the conversation going.
You guys realize this is not a typical family attitude, right?
Yeah.
Okay. So you made it to the second round of the competition. What was it like when you first realized that you were considered for the 2015 Innovating Justice Award?
It was very exciting. I was very excited. I mean, I really was hoping that we'd make it to the second round. It's a tremendous opportunity, and I honestly couldn't contain my joy when I found out that we made it to the second round.
Yeah, and when I found out, I was actually at school. And it was exciting, but it was also relieving because we didn't actually get enough votes to continue, but they chose 3 wild card projects, and ours was one that was chosen. So that was really really relieving and really exciting for me.
Yeah, it was rewarding for all the hard work that we put into the application to see that other people recognize that it's necessary and it's something that would really benefit our communities.
What were your parents saying? What was their reaction when you got this news?
I think they were equally as excited.
Definitely.
Yeah.
We were all very excited. I mean, whenever anything good happens to one in the family, it happens to all of us. So generally, like, if one person's excited about something, we're all
everyone
excited.
Okay. How would you describe your parents? Let's start with mom.
I would say that she's a force, and that she has a really good personality, and she's really strong, like a strong-willed person. And I would also, and like more than just that, I think that she's really good at giving us guidance and telling us what to stay on the path and what path and things like that.
I definitely agree with Caleb. I would say that my mom is she's super motivational. She's definitely, if I don't feel like doing work, or if I feel like something's taking a long time, or if I feel like I'm not where I am or where I need to be, she's the perfect person to go to. She'll motivate you, make you feel like you can accomplish anything. She'll tell you that you can do anything, and better than that, she'll help you create a plan to accomplish your goals so that there's structure and you know that you can get where you need to be. More than anyone, I would say my mom makes me feel like I can do anything.
And that?
My dad is pretty similar. My dad, he provides a lot of the structure for our family. He's the foundation. I would definitely say the foundation for our family. He's very determined. He's very disciplined. And if I could have half of my dad's discipline, then I know I could be as great as he is.
Yeah, I would have to agree with Asha. Whenever he puts his mind to something, he really gets it done. And I think that's really admirable. That's a quality that I hope to have, that I'm working on. So.
Right. My dad is literally, he feels like anything that he puts his mind to, he can get done. So.
What was the most difficult part of developing 5.0?
I think it was initially starting the development, because at that time, we really didn't know how to build an app. So like I said before, we had to work backwards, and there were a lot of tutorials and like YouTube videos that we had to look at. So it was just filling our head with knowledge and then starting and going ahead and building it.
Right.
Would you say you're more confident now?
Definitely.
Yeah. If you had another app to build, what would it be?
That's actually a great question. Right now, I'm working on an app that I'm super excited about, I'm super passionate about, and I feel like it's going to make a huge difference for African American people, or just people of African descent all around the world, and I'm definitely super, super excited about it, but I can't really say too much about it.
No, I understand. What do you talk to do you talk to your friends in school about app development?
I do. Sometimes we would talk about app development, but a lot of times the conversation centered around problem solving, and doing that through technology, not just apps, but through like websites or social media.
Right.
So,
what are some of the greatest misperceptions of developing apps among other young people?
I would say that one of them would be that developing apps, or just coding in general, is really just hard all the way through, because when you first start to learn how to code, yeah, it can seem like a daunting task, but really quickly, after like trials, you'll get it, and it's just gonna come like a second language to you.
Right.
Because it's not like coding is something that you can't do. It's something that after you learn to do it, then it's a breeze.
Right. Definitely, I would say that a lot of them think that, oh, it's too hard, or I'm not good at math, I won't understand how to do it, and they put up blocks before they even try it. And I feel like programming is something where it's like exactly what Caleb said, it's like learning a second language. Once you start learning Spanish, you're like, oh, I know how to say this word, or I can phrase this. That's how programming is, and it starts to become rewarding, and you see the benefits of learning how to program.
What would you say is most exciting about writing functions?
I would say just being able to create something, and just being able to have it on your screen or in your hand. Just being able to like have that ability to where you always could build like whatever you think of, you can actually build it.
Right. I would say that a little separate from what Kate was saying. I would say that it's seeing it work. A lot of times when you're writing functions or you're programming, you reach bugs and they stop you and they trip you up, and it can really make you want to stop programming altogether. But once you solve the problem and you work through it, that's probably the most rewarding and exciting.
Instant gratification, right?
Right.
Yeah. Oh, do you remember? Or let me rephrase it this way. When you were building 5.0, did you have a lot of bugs?
Definitely.
Really? Did you ever felt like quitting?
I don't think we felt like quitting, but it was more like we need to finish.
Right.
Okay.
It would be frustrating. And like we say, we literally built 5.0 Google search by Google search and tutorial by tutorial because we constantly had to find different ways to solve problems and different ways that we could finish features and add functions to the application. It wasn't a breeze. So,
Caleb, I understand you are studying lupus.
Yes.
That's kind of, I wouldn't say strange, but that's kind of intriguing for a young man to go into that field of study. I mean, at least so young. What triggered that?
Well, my whole life I was really interested in studying diseases and illnesses, and when my aunt died from lupus, it left a really big void in our family. So over the summer, she didn't die over the summer. She died when I was younger. But over this summer, I was talking to my mom, and I was like, I really want to research something. I don't want to do just a science fair project for school. I really want to do something that's going to benefit me and benefit other people. So I decided to build a survey for. I decided to build a survey, and it will basically aggregates data from a lot of people who have lupus, basically, and it looks at different variables like their diet and what they drink and where they live. And after a while, once we get enough data, then we'll be able to look at it and see like, is their diet in making their lupus more severe or less severe? And are they taking supplements that help it? Sorry, I can't talk right now, but do they get enough relaxation? Are they stressed out? Things like that.
How did you come about this particular approach?
I think that the reason why I decided to do a survey was because you can get a lot of responses from real people, and it's not hard for them to, so they don't have to go to a hospital or they don't have to leave where they are. They can just log onto their phone or their computer because it's on a website. It's on lupusresearch.info. So anyone who's listening to this that does have lupus, you can
give us that again.
Lupusresearch.info.
Mm-hmm.
So it's easy for anyone who has lupus to take it, basically.
What was most surprising for you so far in your research?
Well, right now my research is just getting off the ground,
Okay.
so we're basically just trying to get the responses right now.
Do you think it's daunting?
I don't think the task is daunting, but I do hope to get enough people to where we can actually make a difference. We can show that lupus isn't as mysterious as it is right now.
Asha, what are people surprised to learn about you when they get to know you?
A lot of times, I would say they wouldn't. I don't know. I would say they wouldn't assume that I'm as into technology and into building things and as I am. That's relatively surprising. Just saying that, oh, I build apps or I like to build apps alone. That phrase is like, oh my gosh, how do you build apps? That's so hard. And it's like people are almost scared when you say that, but it's really once they understand how you do it and how it can be done, it's a lot of the times they're like, oh, okay, that makes sense. But they usually don't assume like I'm used to building apps or things like that. So that's mostly what surprises
And you,
them.
Caleb, what about you?
I don't know. I guess it would be that I'm really good at public speaking, that I'm really good at articulating things and telling people, and just explaining my ideas.
Uh-huh. What are you planning to pursue as a career?
Oh, Asha,
You, Caleb.
okay. I really want to go into research. Like I said, more, and I want to research more than just lupus. I want to research a lot of other diseases. And the next disease that I'm really interested in is sickle cell anemia. So,
Sickle cell.
yes.
Any reason?
Well, I have the C trait for sickle cell, which basically means that if I do have kids with someone else who has a C trait, then our kids could have sickle cell.
Oh,
Also, it's a really devastating disease when you think.
yes, I know. And you, Asha, what would you like to pursue?
Ultimately, I'd like to own my own company. I want to be able to own my own tech company and help people around the world own different pieces of different industries. I am not resolute on one thing that I want to do, but definitely be an entrepreneur.
Caleb, what would you say is your next step after you gather all this data?
My next step would be to analyze it and look over and see if there are any trends, and then to contact all of the participants and tell them that this is what we found, and based on your responses, this is how you could live more comfortably. This is how you could no longer like have it be so painful. And further down the road, we want to build an app that can build communities with people who have lupus and help them with their treatments and with just better the quality of life.
Mm-hmm. Who among you would you say is the most analytical?
If I could say it out of the three of us, I would probably say my older sister. She's away at college right now, but I would say her.
Yeah, she went to Stanford to study, I guess, computer science and math. Am I correct?
Yes, computer science.
Yeah. How has that inspired either of you?
I think that was a really big inspiration for me. I can't speak for Asha, but for myself, she's been a really big inspiration, and she's just like, it's like what we've done. This is one of the rewards for what you've done.
Right. A lot of times people hear, oh, she's going to Stanford, but they don't really think about all the hard work that she had to put in on the back end. And I like seeing her go through it and put in the hard work. And for the past couple of years, that's been very inspiring to see, where you can go after how hard, after like seeing the results of how hard she worked and where she can go. She's definitely been a role model for me in that way.
Have you ever gotten discouraged when working on a particular project? And if you have, how do you deal with it? How do you pick yourself up?
Well, when we were working on 5.0, there were times where we had bugs or we had problems that would last for like weeks.
Mm-hmm.
But what we would really do was we would come together and we would talk about how would be the best way to attack this and how would be the best way to solve this problem.
Right, and additionally, I think this is kind of where my dad's instincts come in within us because he's very determined, and as a result, we're all very determined. And quitting is not really an option when it comes to if we reach a bug and we're at this bug for weeks, we can't just say, okay, we give up, we're going to stop. That's just not something that we do. Like I said, a lot of that comes from him. So we just power through it, and we have to find a solution. There is a solution. We just have to find it. That's usually how we think.
Mom is very good in technology, taught robotics and so on, and probably could have taken over this project and finished it herself.
Right.
Yet, I guess she. Well, let me not guide you with a question. Let me ask you: did she ever do that, or it was like you guys have to solve this yourself?
I think her main role was just as an advisor. It was like more of the like coding and the putting the app together was the three of us.
Right. So she'd guide the thought process, but we do the physical.
Looking back, what would you say to her about the way she conducted herself?
I would definitely honestly, I feel like she played the perfect role in the situation. I feel like if we got caught in an idea and we weren't sure how we're supposed to move forward, she would definitely step in and help us move forward and make the right decision. If we had got top of the problem, then we do the pro and cons list where we can decide which feature's better or if there's any conflict. So I feel like she literally played the perfect role in the app development process.
Hold a second. You guys had a pros and cons list?
Yes.
You're inspiring a lot of young people out there today, right?
I definitely hope so. I mean, our goal is to inspire kids everywhere.
Oh, this is amazing. Pros and cons list. Wow. In the chat room, Jenny said, "You're very brilliant kids. I am proud of you."
Well, thank you.
Thanks.
What is next for the Christians?
Like I said, I'm working on an app that I'm super passionate about, and hopefully that'll be out soon.
Okay.
Yeah. And for me, it's just like getting the grades and hopefully being able to do more research and get more data. So
You guys are determined. You're brilliant, and you don't take no. You don't believe in no. You don't believe in can't. If you had the chance to mentor a group of young people, what are three principles you would share? You would advise them to consider.
I know a big one for me would be perseverance, because with coding or with building apps or with really anything in life, you really have to know you really have to know how to persevere, and you have to know that even if you keep getting hit or getting pushed down, you have to keep going, because at the end you're gonna end up, especially with coding, you're gonna end up with something really amazing.
Right. I also would say you have to believe in yourself and believe in your abilities. If you're trying to build an application and the whole way you're thinking, I'm never going to get this done or it's not going to work, you're literally affirming a negative result for yourself. And I don't think that you can get anywhere with that kind of mindset. So you should always believe in yourself and what you can do.
Also, another one would be that if you don't know, that doesn't mean you can't do it. So, like when we started out building our app, we didn't know how to build apps. But through the process, we learned, and now, and so through the process, we learned, and hopefully, we can build more apps that will help other communities
Right.
and other people.
My dad usually says, like, if there's a will, there's a way, and there's always going to be a way.
Now, you guys have really impressed me tonight, right? And that last one there, Caleb, about what is the last one you said? If you don't know how, it doesn't mean that you can't.
Yes.
Right.
Oh my God. I am going to imprint that on my mind. If you don't know how, it doesn't mean that you can't. I believe in that. I really do. But I want to thank you, both of you, for sharing your time with me this evening.
Thank
And
you.
sharing your time. Sorry. I didn't hear what you said. Go ahead.
Thank you for having us.
Oh, you're welcome. And anything that surprised you about the show?
No, I mean, I feel like you got a great representation of how we develop the app, how we generally live our lives, and what mantras we hold valuable. So,
If there were a question that I forgot to ask, what would that be?
I don't know. I think you really went in depth. You really covered it. You asked a lot of really good questions.
You're coming back here sometime soon, right? The two of you,
definitely.
after your next project. So thank you once again, and thanks. Tell your mom. I really appreciate her helping out in this process here this evening. So thank you.
Thank you. Thank you for having us.
All right. Have a good evening.
You too.
You too.